Good evening. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Tonight is Tuesday, May 21st. I'd like to call the Fitchburg City Council meeting to order. Please be advised that FATV is conducting audio and video recording of this meeting for public broadcast. I ask anyone else in the audience who is recording this meeting to please stand and identify themselves for the record. If anyone is doing that, please let me know. Seeing none, we will have the salute to the flag by Councilor Boschman, please. Ooh, surprise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you conduct the roll call, please?
Vice President Green.
Here.
Councilor Caddy.
Here.
Councilor Squalia.
Present.
Councilor Walsh.
Here.
Councilor Zarella.
Here.
President Kushmarek is absent. Councilor Boschman.
Present.
Councilor Clark.
Here.
Councilor Di Natale.
Here.
Councilor Donnelly. Here. Councilor Fleming.
Here. Public forum. Anyone wishing to speak on a matter on the agenda may do so, but not for more than 2 minutes. If you are addressing public hearing petitions, you will have an opportunity to speak at that time. Please approach the center table and identify yourself by name and address for the record and the item number on the agenda you are addressing. Does anyone wish to speak? Oh, good evening, Ms. Joan.
My name is Joan Goodwin, and I'm the director of the Fitchburg Senior Center, and I'd like to speak on Order 14319 to transfer $5,130 from our personal services expenses into our expense account for the end of the fiscal year. $143.19. I should say the reason why we're asking for this is because of our overage in utilities, electricity and heat at the senior center this year. Right now we're about $6,300 over. So until we get to the end of the year, it'll probably be close to $7,000 or $8,000.
Councilor.
I think she wants to request suspension.
Are you, Madam Chair, are you looking for suspension of the rules, Ms. Goodwin?
Oh, yes, I am.
Motion for suspension of the rules on 14319.
I have a motion and second for suspension of the rules. All those in
Thank you.
favor?
Aye. Move 14319 be granted.
I have a motion and second on the motion. Speaking on the motion, Councilor Boschman.
On the motion, Joan, are we raising the prices when you rent out the halls to cover some of these costs?
The price this year has gone up to $500 for the hall rental.
$500?
Yes.
Okay. It's okay with me.
I have a motion and second to accept 14319. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Chief Martineau. Good evening.
Good evening, councilors. Chief Martineau, Fitchburg Police Department, for the record. I'm here before you tonight in regards to 14219, and I respectfully request that you would consider a suspension of the rules on this matter.
Suspension of the rules, 14219.
Second. I have a motion and second for suspension of the rules, 14219. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great.
Second.
Motion and second to approve 14219. All those speaking on the motion, Councilor Squalia.
Chief, what is the full cost of our K-9 police dog program for this year and for every upcoming year?
Sure. We were awarded this $25,000 grant from the Stanton Foundation. That $25,000 grant will sustain the K-9 program for 3 years. There's a commitment with the Stanton grant that the city of Fitchburg has to maintain the program at least 5 years. It's anticipated in 3 years from now, I would anticipate a budget line item around $8,000 to $10,000 to sustain the program.
Per year.
3 years into it, but that $25,000 that we received under the Stanton grant, that is the startup cost for the K-9 program. That's for the purchase of the dog, the equipment, the training, the upfit to the cruiser with the K-9 kennel, veterinary costs, food costs. It's basically sustainable for 3 years at no cost to the taxpayers.
And what will the purpose of the police dog be? What will its function be within the department?
The dog we purchased is a dual-purpose dog. His name is Hangos. It's going to be a dual-purpose dog where the dog will be able to tracking, locate missing children, missing people, locate suspects that are trying to flee the police. His second purpose will be the detection of narcotics. Dogs typically can't handle more than 2 disciplines, and I felt that those are the 2 most important disciplines that we could utilize here in the city of Fitchburg.
And one more question. The dog for the Fitchburg's canine, Hangos, will he be utilized in other surrounding communities if they may need our assistance?
Absolutely, if need be, absolutely. For the last 10 years, we've been reliant on Leominster Police Department, the Lunenburg Police Department, the Westminster Police Department. We were the only community in Northwester County that didn't have their own canine unit. So I'm excited that I can finally bring this back to the Fitchburg Police Department. And if another community needs assistance, I'd be right there for them.
Thank you.
Great. Counselor Boishman?
So, Chief, you're saying after the first 3 years, it's going to cost the city of Pittsburgh $10,000 per year?
I'm estimating between $8,000 and $10,000. That would be veterinary costs, food, associated trainings. Could be less, could be more. Like I said, we haven't had a canine program in over 12 years. From my research, I had to give the mayor an idea of what we could be facing 3 years from now, anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000, which is minuscule in what you consider what we're going to get out of the work of this dog.
Now, if it works out good the first 3 years, were you anticipating getting more dogs?
No. No. I would only anticipate having 1 working dog for the Fitchburg Police Department.
Okay, thank you.
Fleming?
Now, the kennel that you're building currently is for that dog.
It is.
And I'd like to make the council known that Chief Martineau and some other people are helping him build that on their own time. So that is not being money that is taken out of
Let me
budget.
correct you on that. I
Okay.
built it
Okay, all right.
with
Well,
no help.
all right.
On my own time, on Saturdays, for half the cost of what I was going to purchase it for off the shelf. So something I enjoy
So he's very
doing.
dedicated to this.
I want to say thank you.
Yeah.
to-
I enjoy doing it because
apologize.
this dog is going to be a significant asset to the people of Fitchburg. And there's no doubt in my mind that someday that dog will save someone.
If you ever want some extra work, then come and see me out, help me out.
The extra $10,000 cost that was mentioned earlier, I'm assuming you can absorb that.
All day long, Counselor. If 3 years from now, we couldn't put it into our budget, I have federal equity money. I have other revenue sources within my budget where I could sustain this. Yes.
I just wanted to make that point. Thank you.
Counselor Walsh?
Chief, do you have a specific officer who's going to be handling those?
I do. In November, I put out inquiries in the police department, who would be interested. The most important thing with a canine program is the picking of the handler. The dogs are very well trained. It's making sure you pick the qualified handler. I had 5 officers reply to me, all with interest in becoming handlers. I interviewed all 5, and myself and my captains, we were able to choose one of our officers we thought was the best fit for the job. Officer Josh Lambert, he's a 15-year veteran of the Fitchburg Police Department, was by far head and heels above the other candidates, and we're excited that he's going to be our handler.
Thank you.
Counselor Boishman?
I just want to, now, if I take over, like Josh Lashwood takes over the job, we're not gonna, we won't have to pay him more money, will we? Is it gonna cost us, the taxpayers, more money for handling the dog?
No.
No, okay. I just want to make sure of that.
If all have been heard, I have a motion and a second to accept 14219. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you very much, Chief.
Dried out yet, Chief? Have you dried out yet?
Yes, I have. Thank you.
Hi, Nate.
Nate LaRose from the Recreation Department. I'm here about 14419. I was hoping to request a suspension of the rules to discuss this.
Motion for suspension on 14419.
I have a motion and second for suspension of the rules, 14419. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great.
So 14419 is a request for the appropriation of $7,500 to be matched with $7,500 being provided by the Fitchburg Riverfront Parks and Trails Fund Advisory Committee to upgrade and replace lighting down at Riverfront Park and create a safer, more brightly lit environment for residents in the evening.
Well, I have one question for you. Will that include, are we installing LED or solar?
It'll be LED lighting.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Squalia?
Will you also be upgrading the electrical? I know there's been events in the past and the electrical wasn't able to accommodate the needs of the event.
Yeah, so typically the issues we have electrical isn't that we don't have the correct power supply, it's that it gets damaged frequently. So part of this will be restoring and adding some new cabinetry at a higher level for different electrical that can be moved, so that'll be less accessible to residents and harder for people to damage.
That's part of this 15,000
Yes,
plus?
it's, I believe, I don't have it in front of me, but it's about two grand worth is just that while we're in there doing the lighting.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Counselor Zarella?
Will the lighting itself be shielded, to prevent people from intentionally damaging it?
They'd have to be pretty tall. It's going to be up on Cobra Head style lighting like our street lights.
I was thinking more like thrown rocks. You see some of these lights with like the cage around it or something like that, but...
So I believe the intention for the majority of lighting is to use a very similar style to what we're using on streets now, which I believe is pretty well secure. And we will be doing some upgrades to, there's a triangular style pole that we have on the roundabout. We haven't discussed any kind of security measures for that, but it's something I can certainly look into.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Boschman?
I just want some verification here. I'm not sure, but I thought underneath the Lisa Wong administration that the reason why Riverside Park went in because so many people want it, and I thought it was going to be self-sustaining. Am I wrong on that?
I couldn't speak to that. Riverfront Park was built in 2003, and I do believe that at the time it was overseen by a foundation which had members on it. I do not know if they ever committed to it being self-sustaining to itself, but they have worked towards maintenance. The current fund, which is not the original foundation, has committed as much resources as they can, while also doing the landscaping and other maintenance that they do there.
Yeah. Counselor Donnelly?
Thank you. Just to go back on the self-sustaining of that, the redevelopment authority is the one who did that, and there's a dumping fee that's paid by somebody in the Montechusett Industrial Park, and it was paid to the redevelopment authority for quite some time. During the previous administration, against the will of the redevelopment authority, the wall was taken down, and it was not prohibited by the Army Corps of Engineers, but it was not recommended by the Army Corps of Engineers. So the board of the redevelopment authority said, if they take the wall down, we want to relinquish the responsibility. So I believe the money is still being sent to the city of Fitchburg somewhere in the budget. So money is being sent to the city on a regular basis.
I can speak to that.
But I don't know where it's dedicated. So there was a self-sustaining part of it, and there is money still coming in, but I do not know who's in charge.
I can speak to that. He's referring to a tipping fee that was negotiated by the FRA with a company that has since been bought several times and is now, I believe, Harvey Industries or something like that. That tipping fee was based on that tipping fee was based on the concept of recycling asphalt shingles, which that company no longer recycles. So the tipping fee actually equals zero. We receive a quarterly report with no money. That being said, the health department did negotiate a new deal for us based on another type of recycling, which we receive somewhere in the range of $4,000 to $6,000 a year, the majority of which goes to landscaping costs. It all goes to a fund at the community foundation. It's not held by the city.
Counselor DiNatale?
Nate, is there any reason why you can't absorb this in your budget?
I do believe that the Parks Department didn't answer to me whether or not we could absorb it or not. I believe that after a discussion with the mayor's office, it was felt this was the best method.
I guess I have a disagreement with the mayor's office then, because I'm looking at the last 5 years of spending in recreation, and you have returned on average $27,000 a year to the city for free cash, which is why I'm asking why this wasn't
Absorbed by the recreation department.
why the rec department is not absorbing this or elsewhere. But I'm looking at recreation because you're here and it's going to the recreation budget.
Correct.
So that's why I'm asking.
Yep. So typically, this type of work isn't done by the recreation department. The reason we tend to return more money is because we budget more for the pool, expecting a greater expense, and if we don't use it, we return it rather than trying to spend it out.
Yeah, your areas of return are in the pool expenses and in your recreation general account.
Yep.
But I'm just looking at the fact that if you have to spend $7,500 for fixing the lights, regardless of where it is, when I see the return, and I'm not criticizing the return, I'm just pointing out that I don't see why this can't be absorbed, why we have to dip into available funds. So I have a disagreement with the mayor's office on this one.
I can speak to why we're not doing it from my budget this year. Last summer, we had several maintenance issues at the pool regarding both of our filter pumps, so that normal chunk of money where I would return is probably going to be significantly smaller, based on the fact that I've spent a lot more this year than
You're talking in FY19, this current one?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Chief Martineau.
Yeah, I would like just to address on my item when Nate's done.
Oh, okay. Counselor Fleming?
Is there a fee for when people use this park?
There is a moderate $100 fee for using this park. It does not go to the foundation, it goes to the city, but the city does put it into aside for use by the Parks Department. It's very small, though. In most cases, the fee is waived for the majority of nonprofit users, which is most users.
My next question was going to be, is it a fee that could be raised?
The Parks Board could choose to raise that fee.
Counselor Caddy?
Last year, I was involved with the Blacksmith Festival, and we brought in the medieval axe. And I called Nate, I think, that night, pretty upset. I had 4 women sleeping over the park that night. I did not know that the lights didn't work, and they didn't work. I had to call the fire department to bring over a lighting truck, and I had to call the police department to go in and make checks all night long to check on the woman for me. They've been out, from what I understand, they've been out for a long time. I don't care where the money comes from. It's inappropriate to have a park in the center of the city with no lighting.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second to approve 14419. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Thank you. And Chief, once again.
After I got up, I thought about question Councilor Boschman said. Under full disclosure, you asked if there was any other expense to the taxpayers. Because this is a job outside the patrol division, there is a stipend that goes with it because of the specialty training. That's absorbed within my budget. But the last thing I wanted the council to see that into my FY20 budget and say, well, there's a cost, but that's already been absorbed. So I just wanted to make sure there was full disclosure when you asked if taxpayers were paying for this. There is a stipend because this is considered a specialty job.
What is the stipend?
For this job, $2,500. Because it's outside of the patrol division, they have no availability to patrol overtime because it's considered a specialty job. There is a stipend that's attached to it, and you see that in my operating budget where all specialty jobs have a stipend. So I wanted to make sure that that was fully disclosed before I leave this meeting.
Thank you for your transparency.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. Appreciate that.
Moving on, communications from His Honor the Mayor. 2 reappointment letters, Ms. Deanna Tardif as a member of the Fitchburg Disability Commission for a term to expire on March 1st, 2022, and Ms. Sharon Tardif as a member of the Fitchburg Disability Commission for a term to expire June 30th, 2022.
Appointments.
Thank you. We'll send those to appointments. Reports of committees. Finance Committee, Councilor Di Natale, please.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Finance Committee met on last Tuesday, May 14th, and took up the following. 12919, in order that there be and hereby is transferred from within the sum of $173 to be transferred from city auditor expenses, travel and meetings, and credited to city auditor personal services longevity. That was adopted. 13019, in order that there be and hereby is transferred from within the sum of $689 to be transferred from purchasing expenses,
Make a motion to accept 129 to 135-19. If Mr. Dini Kelly doesn't mind, Council Dini Kelly.
Second.
Motion to accept the Finance Committee report. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. Communication and Independent Auditors Report for the year ending June 30th, 2018, be placed on file in the City Clerk's office.
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Hearings, 7619, Fitchburg Planning Board to amend Fitchburg zoning ordinance by revisiting section 181-87 Smart Growth Overlay District, SG, in its entirety and replacing it with the new section 181.87. Declare the hearing open, but I do have a note that the planning board has not completed their public hearing process, and at this time, they have not provided further information or a recommendation to the city council. The hearing should be continued to June 18th, 2019.
Make a motion we hold.
Second.
I have a motion and second to hold public hearing 7619. All those in favor?
Should be continued.
Oh, I'm sorry, it should be continued.
Yes.
Okay, continued
To
Continue.
June 18th.
to June 18th, 2019. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving right along, budget, orders, council as a whole, committee.
Move
Sure.
14519 through 15419 be sent to the council of the whole committee?
Second.
I have a motion and second to send all the appropriated orders to council as a whole committee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great.
Madam President? on that
Yes.
motion there, I'd like to ask you a question. Is it at all possible that at the same time the budget here we have, that if the superintendent can come to our meeting to address some issues?
I believe that for the council as a whole, I
Yeah.
believe that the department heads will be here for that. But can we send a communication? Would that be better if we send a communication
Yeah,
to the?
please. Yes, please.
Okay. So you're good?
Huh?
You're good now?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
good.
all right. Ordinances, 13819, amend Chapter 14, Article 1, Section 14-2G of the City Code by striking the words "the chief assessor" and inserting the words "an assessor" in their place as outlined in the enclosed ordinance. Reference petition 24319 for its final reading.
Move 13819 to its final reading?
Second.
Motion second to send 13819 to its final reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. 15519, an ordinance amending Chapter 21, Section 18 of the Code of the City of Fitchburg by adding a community development revolving fund. Refer to the council as a whole
Send
committee.
15519 to the council as a whole.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Petitions.
Move petition 15619 through 16619 be sent to their respective committees.
Second.
I have a motion second to send petitions 15619 up to and including 16619 to their respective subcommittees. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Oh, that was a nice meeting. Motion to adjourn.
An announcement.
Thank you. And announcement, Councilor Bushman.
I would like to say thank you to all the volunteers. They helped us to clean our city streets. I just want to say thank you to Mr. Donnelly and Mr. Caddy, since this is the last year for them. I appreciate all the great work you guys did, helping us keep our city clean and all that. And you've been at almost every cleanup, because I know Tom goes treasure hunting. So, and I want to thank Joe, and I like to thank Sam, because she goes out there every weekend. I see it. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Councilor Fleming.
I'd like to add to that. I'd also like to thank Crossroads Community Church for bringing in all the outside volunteers that do not live in the city to come in and help not only clean the city, but rebuild our city. So
Yes,
they
thank
deserve
you.
a
They are
big thank you.
commended because that was Also, just a couple of updates. Civic Days, we still have ducks for sale, so it's important to get your ducks for that Civic Days. Also, this weekend, 6 p.m., the White Cross ceremony through our Veterans Department at Memorial Park. And that is it. Thank you. We're adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you, Amy, you did a great job tonight.